Okay. So I had a really interesting conversation with my yoga mentor today that prompted me to make this video. So we have to do check-ins and we have check-in groups where we meet with one of our teachers to just talk about how we're feeling, uh, you know, and just do a little bit of reflection time in our groups. And when I was asked how I was feeling, I said that honestly, life is pretty good. There's nothing to complain about. And we were just talking about, specifically with me, I said that I was just very much mission focused, and I'm currently like basically directing all my energy towards one goal. And because of that, I also haven't really allowed anything to bother me. And we were talking about protecting your peace, and which is how I viewed it. My current state of mind was just protecting my peace and not allowing anything to get me off of my emotional equilibrium. And that for me meant that, the word equanimity comes to mind every single day that I've basically, you know, been living since I discovered this word. It's been basically word of the day every day. And I want to make a video about equanimity as well. Uh, but basically I've taken that to heart and I've been living by that, which, in a short context, equanimity means like basically on an equilibrium, don't get too high, don't get too low. And I've been using that because my goal uh is to go live on a farm and learn to grow food. And that goes into my long-term plans. And, you know, emotionally, I've just been on a very steady pace. And um my mentor was saying that, not to let my goal basically obstruct me from dealing with my emotions. And that was a really good conversation, which is what prompted this whole video. And I just sat here and meditated on it to just, because I thought it was very interesting because I feel like I've been doing incredibly well emotionally, um, because I know what I want to do with my life now. And, you know, I've stopped stressing. And that's basically what I was talking about in our check-in, was that, feeling stress does not make what you're worried about go away. And also worrying about things that you can't control or things that you want to happen, worrying about them is not going to make the situation any better, right? And that's what I was explaining from my point of view. And my mentor brought up a good point about, you know, are you, are you, you know, are you being overly protective of your peace, which is why, if something happens, I'm quick to just not give it any emotional energy, whether it's, especially if it's things that would be considered bad. I don't really give it any emotional energy anymore because one, like he said, I'm very quick to protect myself now. And I've been in that state of mind now, basically since like the fourth chakra we learned a few weeks ago. And I mean, I've kind of been in that state of mind for a while, but it really hit home once I learned about the fourth chakra and equanimity. Um, which, the fourth chakra is about unconditional love, and unconditional love is not just, parent to child. It's supposed to be applied to everyone and everything. And meditating on it and really thinking about, am I protecting my peace, or am I not wanting to deal with things? And right now, my conclusion is that, I've dealt with myself, and dealing with myself has allowed me to decide how much emotional energy I dispense to things that I care about or don't care about. Right? So things that are uncontrollable in terms of results. I think that's where, I was feeling a bit more firm about my position, was once the result is in and it's happened, like if it's in the context of worrisome or trouble, worrying about the worrisome or troubleness does not does not feed me internally in any way, shape, or form, right? So, you know, my reaction to bad things or when things didn't go my way, I used to shut down. I would just shut it down cold. And I used to just put it off and just basically stew in anger internally, and just, I would let it fester and eat me, and it would just be very cold. Uh, and that's how I used to deal with it, right? And really thinking about it now, and thinking about, am I being cold, or am I trying to be more logical with my emotions, because emotions are very fluid, they're up and down. That's a real thing, you know? And I watched a video that helped me understand exactly what I've been doing lately, which is, uh, like my mentor said, once you feel like your peace had been stripped away from you, you can become very overly protective of your peace, and I used to stress about a lot internally. I used to stress about so many things that it would make me in secret very, very emotionally not uncontrollable, but very distraught emotionally in secret, because I would wish for things to be a certain way and they were not. And I understood the reality, but I did not accept the reality. And I am to a point, and my mentor mentioned this, of acceptance of reality and just dealing with reality, and that's where I feel like I've been at emotionally, is being very much accepting of reality and dealing with that. And, dealing with reality means that I also have to understand what I'm looking at and try and make sense of it. And then also go, how much of this do I feel like putting my energy into? When you're happy, that's energy, and you can amplify it by choosing to dive in deeper into that happiness, and then when things don't go your way and you sit and you put mental energy into feeling the sadness and being down about the fact that things don't go your way, that's also a lot of energy. Like it's like when you get so angry that you just want to go to sleep because you're so tired. Yeah, because you've spent emotional energy on being sad to the point where it just consumes you, and now physically you can feel sick. It's like when people get so angry that they literally can feel sick, right? So, you know, it took me a long time to get to this position where I'm even making this video and having a bit of a zero fucks attitude to talk about this kind of stuff, because I used to struggle with some parts of my life of accepting reality, whether it's, well, I'm not going to get into detail, but in multiple aspects of things, where I would, feel like I have a good heart and I would want to try to make things happen, and emotionally, maybe thinking that emotional vulnerability was so good that it could actually, that it sometimes it destroyed me, because I was emotionally vulnerable and thinking that that would that would like make things come around, or people would see things my way. And when that didn't happen, I would then be sad because I felt like I was being strong by being emotionally vulnerable in that way, and that can go for many different, for a 25-year-old, you can think of many different things that can be a case for. And now, just accepting actions, results, consequences, decisions, accepting all of those things and being okay and living with the results, and for me, I'm really, and I was thinking about, am I selfish or being greedy? That was something that I just sat here and thought about. Like, am I being selfish or greedy? Because I feel like I'm a very giving, very, very giving person. I really do. And sometimes I don't want to say that give continuously giving is bad. I don't want to say that, but I also don't want to drain myself of energy and energy resources. And that's something that I've also come to understand. And I battle with that all the time. I always battle with that internally because there are times where I'm just like, just give more, just give more. And hoping that because I'm giving more, that, you know, it will come around or it will change something. But for that to happen, it can't just be this side. It can't just be me that makes the change happen. Some change has to come from it has to come from both sides, right? Um, and how do I explain that better? Because I don't want to leave that very vague. Because I'm talking about like just, interpersonal relationships with people in everyday life, right? So yeah, that's how I would put it. That's how I put it is like, if I'm, if I'm if I'm dealing with another human, that's a relationship in that moment, and learning to understand that I cannot control their actions, and that I can only control my actions and reactions. The end of it is action. So I can only control my action, you know, and being okay with me going, okay, being sad about something does not make that situation change, right? Just like being happy about something, you know, I don't really know if that changes much either, but it's all internal, and I've just decided I don't know if I'm being calloused either. I really don't know if I'm being calloused or just, like I said, being accepting of what is and letting go of what was. I just used to feel like I'm still a very hopeful person. I'm more hopeful now, maybe because I'm starting for, I'm starting over. So it feels like it can only go up from here, right? Like if you start from the top, it's like, then you're just coming down because you've already gone to the top. But now that I'm having to rebuild myself, I'm being very intentional with even I'm being very intentional with myself and how I build myself back up, which is why I'm, trying to go on a farm and start with the basics of connecting with the earth, connecting with food and growing it. I go to the grocery store and I'm like, where is this coming from? I don't really want to make this a rant, but I just found it very fascinating when my mentor said that, because I really thought about it. Like, am I running from my emotions? And I don't think so. I think I'm actually confronting them head on directly, and sometimes it can feel very abrasive, that I'm like, okay, why do I feel the way I feel right now? And how does this serve me? Right. And to be honest, your emotions serve you. Whether you use sadness as motivation to get shit done, whether you use hurt as motivation to fucking change shit, like they can serve you, or you're serving them. Because if you feed sadness, sadness grows, you know? And so I think that I've just had a mentality shift, but that's also what they call becoming a fucking adult, I guess. And that's kind of where I'm at, is I'm like, maybe the title of this video will be called Acceptance. Because I felt like that's really where I'm at now, is I stopped trying to like make imaginary scenarios of what I think is happening and projecting it onto people, and dealing with the reality of things, and also not trying to do any guesswork, right? Like, let me take in all the information and facts. Now, facts can be subjective because I'm seeing it through my lens, and there could also be things going on, right? So I take in the information, I process it, and emotionally I go, does this serve me? If not, then I probably don't deal with it. And then I move on. So yeah, I felt like I'm just in a very accepting place of just reality, instead of running away from my emotions. I would like, we had a very, very good conversation about it, and we're going to talk more, because he just, he says he's noticed a few things that I've said, that he's like, hey, I want you to like confront this. And he hasn't told me the things, but he was just like, I want you to confront this, and let's do the work on it. I don't want you to get so focused on your mission that you forget that there are things you have to deal with along on your mission. Like, when you go back to trauma, and you look inside the trauma and you dissect it, and you go, okay, so how does that trauma serve me now? And how does it make me better now? How does it make me bold to step forward with action, right? Without feeling pity. That's when we don't play victim, but we have to be able to look at the trauma, at the bad things that happen, understand them, and use those things for the future as lessons. And that's basically what he was saying. And so, yeah, this was not supposed to be a rant, but I'm going to try and make a video every day this week, whether it's just me chatting or making a vlog and posting it. So this video will be titled Acceptance. Today is July 30th. It is Tuesday. It's right before midnight. Good night.